Gentlemen, our theme this week is why anger is killing your sex life. And you want to be a man that doesn't fall into that anymore. You want to be a new man today.
I'm gonna tell you about a woman whose heart is sunshine, whose body burned hot. I'm gonna tell you about a woman who's cold as tundra with some frozen eyes. I can tell by the way she
Welcome to the C-Note Show, everyone, brought to you by Great Men Move Mountains. It's 11:02 here Monday morning on June 29th. We're almost into July. You are here because you want to learn what the hell's going on in relationship. You probably found Great Men Move Mountains because you're in terror of what's happening with her. Either she loves you or not in love with you, or you're on the way to divorce, or she just dropped the D-bomb on you. All those things happened to me in 2015. And that's how I found this work. That's how I found my men's group. And I've been dedicated ever since in learning this exact work, men's work, how to have the 3 forms of confidence, which we talk about in the show, how to be grounded and confident and full of mojo within your own self and source yourself from the inside. Something we believe here is spiritually sourcing yourself from the inside. The 3rd form of confidence is spiritual confidence from within your own self. And we have a man on today that's going to talk about that about 15 minutes into the show. Otherwise, the only woman allowed in this show is my co-host and phenomenal superwoman, my fiance and a professional coach, Miss Cynthia Cruz. Hi, Cynthia.
Hey, good morning and happy Monday. And thank you all for the invitation to join you every morning in this way. It is an incredible honor and privilege, and it lights me up. So it's with much gratitude that I sit here with you.
Thank you so much, Cynthia. I have incredible gratitude as well. So, gentlemen, our theme this week is why anger is killing your sex life. And you want to be a man that doesn't fall into that anymore. You want to be a new man today. You are the same man in body, but you're starting to rise in emotions and in spirit and your skills, your understanding of this work. And here we dive into the shit and bounce back up off the bottom of the pool with a perspective and a plan for your adventure in life and your battle in life that's beyond her. As John Eldridge in his book Wild at Heart would say, she wants to be your beauty to behold. She doesn't want to be your adventure and she doesn't want to be your battle. And that's a giant mistake that I made. That's a giant mistake that I would say that maybe every single man here has made, that we didn't have our own kick-ass adventure and goals in life. And we fell into nice guy. We fell into autopilot. And guys, that's why we're here. You know, I learned these things. This is a skill that I've learned. And Cynthia and I continue to practice these every day. We've been together for going on 4 years now. But yeah, gentlemen, let's start with a post from the forum. And then we're going to circle back around to our guest of today. Here is where we do our daily work as men, guys. My goal and our goal is in 1 generation from now, every man is in a tribe like this. And every woman cherishes her man who's in a tribe like this. And this is just a normal thing. So we have our brothers in and we have our sons in and we're proud of this work. So why anger is killing your sex life is our theme of this week. And here's a post from the forum. This is about a woman's emotions. Most of us would agree that for a woman, and yes, I'm generalizing as men have emotions also. Yeah, we definitely have emotions also. Yeah, that's right. Her emotions can and do often run the show. She can seemingly go from love to hate in 24 hours and back again and everywhere in between. I understand and accept this, at least from my experience. There is no judgment, but when it comes the time to know what to believe is true, how do I know what's true? And when it comes time, the person who posted this, the gentleman who posted this, he wants to have no judgment on her emotional flow, her feminine storm, her emotional range, which we do love within women, guys, right? Of course. We're not asking them to be another man. We want them to be their beautiful woman, emotional self as they are. But when comes the time, how do I know what to believe to be true? So we're gonna tackle that today. We're also gonna tackle why anger is killing your sex life. There's a phenomenal response on the forum underneath this as well that I'll share. And then I want to highlight our guest of today who's going to come on. Dave, thank you so much for coming on the show, buddy. I was asking you before the show. This is your 2nd time being on. I honor you so much for coming on. I read your story in our private Facebook forum, right, Dave? And so, you and I didn't talk much before the show today as to what you'd like to bring to the guys. If you want to tell a tiny bit of your story. I know you've been married multiple times, right? If you don't mind me saying that. And I'm curious where you are right now. Like, what do you want these guys to know, or what question do you have for us today? Please, like you're welcome here. Anything that you want to share with us, please.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering why you had me on the show because I'm still kind of a hot mess.
Well, I mean, that's where I was in 2015, but brother, I was, my face in the mud. I felt like I was in free fall, and So I was a hot mess when I came to this work, and I'm not sure how long have you been around this work, Dave? And what chapter of the work would you say you're in?
I'm 3 months into it. I have Dennis Collins as my coach.
Awesome. Nice.
And working with him has been great. I've read, 12, 14 books so far. I do talk to neighbors and friends. But my whole outlook on how I've been behaving throughout my life and in my failed marriages and things like that has completely changed. I look at myself totally different now. I really wish my wife was here so I could practice some of these things that I've learned. But I don't know, it's just given me a really good outlook on my future.
Yeah. So I know Dennis Collins. He's a close friend of mine and a colleague of mine. We've done a retreat together. We've hiked out in Arizona together. Awesome guy. Did you know, Dave, he's run like 40 or 50 triathlons? Did you know that?
I know he runs every day, but no, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's really quiet about that. So he's done, I think, 3 of the full ones and then 30 or 40 of the shorter like, oh my God. So he's really modest about that kind of stuff. So yeah, Dennis is an awesome dude. But so Dave, let me ask you, bud, I read in the forum, right? So what do you want to share with our guys as far as what you've learned from the School of Hard Knocks, if you will, or what do you, if you could go back in time, what would be 1 or 2 things that you would kind of teach yourself?
Well, one thing that I definitely learned, don't give up. No matter how bad things are, they will get better. And I've been through some pretty crappy things, physically, emotionally, mentally. And I didn't give up. I kept on going forward. I sought help when I needed it. Kept on learning and growing. And actually now is the most I've grown in a long, long time, because of the things that I didn't know.
Yeah.
And now I know. And so hopefully things will be different, but just don't give up. Keep pushing forward, and things will get better. They always do.
Yeah, thank you. It reminds me, so Jason, who's on our show right now, on Friday typed in the chat that there's the biggest danger are the things we don't know. Right. So what have you uncovered, Dave, that you didn't even previously know? So you've been in coaching, right? You've read these dozen books. What's something that you honor that you know now that you had no idea of 3 months ago?
How to lead in a relationship. I had no idea what that meant. My first 2 marriages, both of my wives were very strong and forward, and they wanted to lead. And so I really didn't have any practice or know how to do it. And then I got into my 3rd marriage with a completely different type of woman. And she would mention to me, she's like, I just wish that you would take the lead sometime. And I had no clue what she was saying. I'm like, what, walk in front of you or, what? I had no idea. And, but now I understand what she was talking about. And other things that I have learned, I always took things personally. If she would make a comment about how she was feeling or whatever, I would automatically turn it on me and make it about me, and or how it made me feel, or then I would get defensive and react instead of respond. And through what I've been learning through this group is how to respond instead of react, how to actually listen and feel her emotions, what she's saying, instead of looking at it as it's being pointed at me. Because it's not about me. It's just how she is feeling. And I was too self-centered to, I thought everything was about me, and it wasn't. And I realize that now, and I didn't realize that then.
Yeah, Dave, that reminds me of, so I didn't really start learning about what does spirituality mean to me? I didn't even think about that really before 2009. So the recession in 2008, 2009, I got clobbered financially, and that's my relationship. My past relationship wasn't doing well, and went to Mexico that winter just to get the fuck out of town, Dave, and put my head down on the sand for the first time ever, putting my head down, and tried to just shove the anger down or shove the shame and the pain down. I just tried to shut it up and shove it into the corner and send it down into the basement. But I realized that's not, that might work for a day or a week, but that shit comes back stronger, right? Whatever we send down to the basement goes down there and lifts weights and comes back even more angry and stronger. So I've learned to more integrate, and that's what we do on the show here too, is to put out there what our pain is and integrate that and share it with the other men. That's why you guys are here, either to put in the chat or to privately chat one another, or, you see each other on the private Facebook forum. So Dave, how are you strengthening your own spiritual grounding as a man? Everyone's religion is their priority. That's fine. But spiritually, how do you source yourself now? Because within your story, right, Dave, it was all about me, but it was more of the nice guy covert contract, right? So if I give, or if I please her, then I'll get what I want, which is different than actually sourcing yourself and allowing her, leading and sourcing yourself. So what do you find different about that spiritually for yourself? What would you say?
Well, spiritually, I've, maybe 2 months ago, I was able to really dig deep inside myself, going all the way back to when I was a child, and how my parents brought me up to my 2 failed marriages. I was able to forgive everybody for doing what they did to me, to affect me. And I was able to also forgive myself for letting those people control my mind and my heart. And it actually freed me. I'm going to say it was like a come to Jesus moment, but, and I asked God for help, and I felt a rush go through my body, and my heart opened up. And, I look at that as part of the reason why this third marriage failed, was because I had a closed heart and a closed mind, and I could never give her all of my love or receive it. I always had a block up, and to give or receive. And I feel that is now down. I'm open-minded, open-hearted. I'm ready to feel and give love. And that was kind of my spiritual awakening, was forgiveness. That was the biggest thing that I could have ever done for myself. And, even, for all the people that I felt did me wrong in my life, I wrote them letters about how I felt about everything. I didn't send them, but I wrote letters to everybody to get it out. And it helped. It seriously helped. And so, what I can say is forgiveness was my biggest spiritual gift.
Oh my gosh, Dave, I love that so much. Forgiveness is your biggest spiritual gift, and that love that you opened up for your own self and for other people. Cynthia, I'd love for you to unmute yourself. Cynthia and I were talking about this morning, Dave. We've seen from a teacher out there, which we've highlighted on the show as well, John Wineland, David Data. There's another gentleman, G.S. Youngblood, who wrote The Masculine in Relationship. I'm not sure if you've heard of that book, Dave. Yeah. Yep. And they talk about the masculine healing, either healing ourselves or healing others or healing those around us by that giving of love. And so if we're falling and collapsing within ourselves, the best thing we can do is give love to ourselves or those around us, or write letters that you maybe not send, right? It's giving sort of love and energetically to that
Yep.
person, or love to your career, or love to your hobby, or love to building something. Cynthia, I'd love for you to give Dave some feedback and maybe a question for him of where he is in his process and how he comes across, how he feels to you as a woman, please.
Oh my gosh. Yes. I mean, Dave, as soon as you started speaking, I was just profoundly affected by, I was like, what is this? Like this incredible presence. And I was noticing like, oh, wow, I really love the depth of his voice. And I just feel incredibly safe and at home just sitting across the screen from you. And then when you ever said, we're talking about your heart and opening that, my whole body just was like, psh, and it felt, I mean, I think I've said before that incredible heart-centered, powerful masculinity reminds me of walking in redwood tree forests and the times when they have the great, you can walk inside a tree because it's kind of been hollowed out by time, and how that feels to me to be held in this incredibly, I would call it healing space. And that's what it feels like in your presence. And I would love to know, let's say that, none of us are perfect, and I practice like giving love, and there are moments when I'm like, I'm going to close down now because this person has wronged me. What do you do in moments when you do have a flash of that human, like frustration, irritation with someone? How do you stay strong? How do you continue to open up in that situation with them?
Unfortunately, I haven't had the chance to do that. I work out of my home. It's just me and my dog. And I do get out every now and then, but I just haven't had the opportunity. At work, I handle things just fine. I always have. I've been at my job for 32 years, and I know it like the back of my hand. But as personal relationships, I haven't really had that opportunity.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. Do you have a thought in your mind how you would approach that as that does come into your life, as you find you're getting to interact with people more and attract future relationships?
I would have to step back and take in and understand what was just said to me, and stay calm and respond. And instead of having my heart beat 1,000 times a second and blurt something out that I shouldn't have said, which that was a habit of mine all the time. I would just respond or react. And so if and when it will happen that I will have that chance, I'll think to myself, step back, understand what was just said. If you don't understand, ask for clarification. But that's my plan.
Yeah.
I don't know if I answered your question or not, but.
Oh, well, absolutely. I feel like you do a really wonderful job of holding the humanness that, those times will come up, but also you embody hope in moving forward. And I just wanted to let you know in the chat, Kevin said, thanks, Dave. Dan was saying, good, that's a great awareness, Dave. Rob just posted, thanks for being so vulnerable here. So I so appreciate you sharing where you are in your process. And you're like you are the vision holder. I feel that in you. Like even when you first started talking, I was like, and the forward and the moving forward and the hope and the it will be different. And so I thank you for modeling that as well.
Thank you for having me on here. My past has been difficult, but I think that my future is going to be good.
Fantastic. Dave, love it so much. Yeah. So you've got friends here. You've got other men to support each other. I'm hoping that you go ahead and chat in private chat or in the group chat or in our forum, right? So you're going to meet some lifelong friends. There's guys that I meet all over the country, Idaho. We went out to the Southwest, Arizona, like I said. We're going to go out to Pennsylvania and meet Sven. You guys know that Sven on the forums. He's out in Pennsylvania. There's a group that's going to go out there that we just had to put pause on things. And then we've got Spain. We've got the UK. We've got New Zealand, right? Of course, I've got one of my clients is in Taiwan. I'm going to visit him at some point when we can in the future. So Dave, these are connections that you'll have for the rest of your life all over the place. So I love that. And I'm going to press pause on you, Dave. And this is going to segue. I want to share the answer that another gentleman put on the forum to that opening question. But first, Cynthia found this morning an interview with Tim Ferris, with Marie Forleo and Tim Ferris. And I've got a 2-minute spot of his right now, how to overcome fear and practice self-love. Tim does some different stuff with his like hair and he's got like this goat going on here. I think it's pretty, but Tim at the very least has experienced so many things in the world and interviewed so many famous people Tim himself has been exposed to. So I love this 2-minute spot that Cynthia found this morning. I'm going to share right now.
Right. And very often a bad thing. That question, what might this look like if it were easy, is a really deceptively leveraged question, because you start to look for elegance and ease instead of the path of complexity that allows you to absorb and tolerate the most pain, which some people, myself included for a long time, viewed as an indicator of doing the right thing.
And sometimes for me of strength.
Yeah. It's like, oh yeah, no, I can redline for longer than all of you.
Yep.
It's like, wait a second.
Yeah. Wait, what are we talking? Yes.
And this is good?
Yes.
Wait a second. Like, and there, don't get me wrong, there is strength and there are advantages to having endurance, but only when you're enduring things that are worth enduring, as opposed to just making your life painful. So, long answer, long monologue, but I do think it's very important to talk about the darkness and the failures and the hard times. And when I interview people, I always try to bring that out because it's so easy, like you said, to listen to an interview or to see someone on the cover of a magazine and think to yourself, wow, I really wish I could do something like that, but I'm me and they're them and they've got it figured out.
Yes.
And they always wake up at 6 a.m. with like a mental karate chop to conquer the day with no insecurities. And that's just bullshit. It's not true. Bullshit. And I can tell you with firsthand knowledge, knowing some of the most impressive people I've ever come across in the world who've become my friends, we all have our demons. So I make a real conscious effort to talk about those so that people can try to create a safety net against self-destruction and certainly at least self-flagellation and berating. And I read something recently which has really stuck with me, and I've been repeating it to myself a lot, which was from Gertrude Stein recently, something that she wrote, and it was paraphrased. Very simple. It related to the golden rule. So for those people who need a refresher, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. All right. Her point is it has to work both ways. So do unto yourself as you would do unto others. And so if the voice in your head is a voice that and a tone that you would never use ever with the people you care most about, don't use it with yourself.
If you would not treat a friend that way, why are you treating yourself that way? Right. And also one thing that he said was that none of us are perfect. All of us have insecurities. All of us have fears. Cynthia and I have been talking about this over the past 3 days, over the whole weekend. We worked on a group coaching program that we're going to unleash here very soon, where we're only going to have a choice number of men that are going to be a part of that. And I'll tell you, I made a web page on our website this week, and I'll tell you guys about later in the show for the small group coaching program that we're going to launch here in the next 30 days. But otherwise, Cynthia and I were talking about, like, it almost is the fact that no matter how much money is in the bank, no matter how well your relationship is going, no matter how well parenting is going, we have these monkey mind thoughts that go through our head, these fears that go through our head, and that's our ego trying to warn us or our lizard brain trying to warn us of any potential fears out in the world to try to keep us from harm, to try to keep us from pain. And those aren't true. Those thoughts aren't true. They're just these posits in our mind of, well, should you be worried about money right now? And I have to think, that's an interesting thought. That's a strange thought that I just had, and not take it for face value, not take it real. So Cynthia, I'd love for you to come in. I'm going to jump back to our opening question of the day and then our response from a man. So his opening question has to deal with her emotional storm. So a woman and her storms can often run the show, and she can go from love to hate in 24 hours and back again and everywhere in between. So when a woman is feeling these emotional swings, do you think that it's true, Cynthia, that a woman experiences these thoughts as more fearful than a man? Do you think when she's going through these love or hate swings, how can we understand that a little bit more deeply from a man's point of view, please?
Wow, that's a great question. So I would love to put that in the frame of I would imagine that a man, the masculine, the swings of emotion, the powerful emotion are intrinsically built on, making sure there is not a threat, protecting against a threat of the family, of the tribe, of security in terms of providing, and can I be powerful and strong in this situation, or is something going to threaten that? So I'm not going to be able to show up in my full, warrior or kingly self. And a woman's emotional core is entirely built. It's like a wiring system to make sure that she's included, connected, that her diffuse awareness, that she's aware of like everything that's going on at all times. And it's a constant valuing of where she is in tribe. Is she safe? Is she seen? Is she being valued at a relational level? So her jockeying and feelings of emotion are all based on where she's at in that system, in relationship with your facial expressions, how she's feeling, where she's at with children. You gave a wonderful example, Jeff, of there's a TV show where there's men and women just dropped on like a deserted island, and the men are all together and the women are all together. And you described that the first night that men like immediately found like shelter and made a fire and were making sure that they were protected from the rain. And the women's group, not to say that all women would do this, but they spent their whole time jockeying emotionally with each other to see where the communal system was. And it resulted in them getting rained on and freezing and hungry, but they were valuing what was determining their most important core survival instinct.
I love that. So it helps us understand that it's not a lack of responsibility that happened so they were dropped on a desert island, and the first thing is we got to survive. And the men naturally had that in them, from 200,000 years of being humans, of being Homo sapiens. And the women are jockeying. So they had to actually go against their biological, let's say, values of connection and tribe and community to kind of go into survival mode. And that didn't go very well in that reality show the first night. So yeah, they got rained on, they didn't have fire. And so you can find that, guys, on YouTube if you look out there. But Cynthia, so all of us now, we don't have to make shelter every single night. And so when a woman's going through her emotional swings, how can we as a man, as Dave was talking about that he wants to practice ongoing in relationships, how can we as a man, the whole not take it personally? What's the first thought that we need to understand that her fear is really triggering in her mind? What's her what's her number one fear in those moments when she's in these huge swings? What would you say?
I would believe that her number one fear is always, is she going to be understood? Is like what the story she's bringing to the table, is the emotion she's having, is the pain, is the angst, is it going to be understood? Because if it's understood, it will be believed as like her truth, and not shunned or disregarded. And that does not mean that you, as this incredible masculine presence who wants to fix, who wants to lead, needs to meet everything that she is saying. For her to feel just understood is like the safest thing a woman can experience. Everything else is a little bit more surfacey. Being understood is still included in the tribe and not being left outside of the cave in the cold while everyone else is inside protected with fire.
I was taking notes, Cynthia, of what you said. You said a woman's emotional core is entirely built, and her wiring system is to make sure she's included and connected, aware of everything that's going on at all times, a constant valuing of where she is in the tribe, safe, seen, valued, and at a very relational level. She's feeling everything, your facial expression, everything. Her top concern is she's worried if she's going to be understood and not exiled from the tribe. So when she's going through these swings, these love-hate swings and back again. So this response from a gentleman in our private Facebook forum said, I would suggest that the concern is not the volatility of emotions, but the acceptance that anyone's emotions should run your show. We each have our own show for which we are responsible. The hardest thing to conquer is your inner peace when you are running your show, whilst there might be a hurricane of emotions playing out next to you. And he says, here's an analogy. You want to watch a film. If she's in a good mood, she might watch it with you, and it feels good because you have a calm, loving environment in which to share the experience. The experience is secondary to you wanting to watch the movie, and for which you have ultimate control. So secondary in that moment is what he's saying. If she's in a mood and doesn't want to watch, you still watch. That's within your control. The hardest part is resting in your own comfort while she storms around beside you, making noise, moaning, and being generally discontent. Learning to watch your own film whilst there is an air of discontent within someone else is the toughest discipline to master. P.S. I'm not there yet. So I would look into this a little bit more, right? Like immediately when I thought this is, well, if my woman is storming around me, making noise, moaning, and really making sure that she's making me aware that she's unhappy about something, I'm going to go ahead and stop the movie and address that in a skillful way. And so the problem with being skillful, though, is do you have the three forms of confidence? Do you know what to say? Can you stay solid in your own self emotionally? And what's your mindset when you're trying to help her? You're not trying to father her. You're not trying to correct her or fix her. But if she's doing this storming around you, I'd probably pause the movie. Okay. Now, if that's just sort of a metaphor for life of she's always storming, or she's storming when you need to get work done, or you have other important things, or your children are jumping around in the world, like maybe she can't be the priority right this moment. And so I'd love for the gentleman to raise his hand. Yeah, Jason, come on in, please. Love for you to share about this.
So it's crazy how dead on this flow of this topic is for what's going on. As you know, it was 3 months of no conversation, and it's been just about 4 weeks now of sporadic, chaotic, good and bad. And this weekend, wife came over, some friends came over, had a great evening. As it got later and we imbibed further, suddenly it got really acidic and really angry on her part. To the point where she made up a story that she was talking to a business school woman friend of mine tomorrow morning because she was searching for a way to come at me, and was accusing me of things. And this was simply just a friend, and there's never been anything, never was anything. And it was just such a bizarre accusation. So I stayed really calm because it just didn't make sense, especially with where the evening had been so far. And the next day she apologized and said, please don't give up on me.
Wow.
So to kind of the point of what Cynthia was just talking about. And so we spent some time yesterday afternoon together. I said, it's never crossed my mind. What I'm trying to do is give you the space that you've asked for while still helping you when you want my help. And I'm trying not to use the word need, because I did that a couple times earlier in the conversation, and it always came back, I don't need you. I don't need anything from you.
Right.
And so I keep telling her, I'm here to help you if you'd like it. Because she's trying to find a job. She's starting therapy. She's starting to investigate these things going on in her life. And so my question, I guess, for you guys is, how do you balance the first part of that story with the fear of belonging, yet storming, with helping without being controlling or being needy?
Sure. So can you ask that in a different way? So how can I be the man in my own value and set boundaries when she's storming, and yet what?
Yeah, I don't want to be like, are you okay? Or how can I help you? Or what do you need from me? Or so I've tried to create the statements versus the questions. I'm here to help you if you'd like it. And then she said, I don't know what to do with this job thing. I don't know what to look at. I said, well, I can help you with that if you'd like me to. And I always think about what I say before I say it, because it's a very different redirection of my pattern of speaking of my life. Is I'm just like, well, here's what you're good at. Why don't you look at this, this, and this?
Right. You're trying to fix it. Yeah.
Exactly. Right. And so I guess that's kind of where I'm coming from, is the fear of, when she asks for help, providing it a way in which I suddenly cross the boundary from leading and supporting to fixing, solving, and controlling.
Yeah, I want to thank you, Jason. Let's press pause for a second. I'm going to say one thing, and I'd love for Cynthia to come in. So there's a couple things. When you say, oh, you're really good at this, let me give you advice, that's actually two things. So when you're saying what she's good at and supporting her, that's different than giving her advice. So I want you to break those two things apart, first of all. And then she doesn't sound like she's really asking for help. It sounds like she's expressing. So Cynthia, go ahead and please jump in Jason's scenario here, please.
Well, thank you for sharing that, Jason. And I am blown away and full of excitement hearing her say, well, first of all, you responding very calmly to her in her storm of accusation, and then her coming back the next day and saying, please don't give up on me. That's huge. And I just wanted to offer that. And I think we kind of talked about this before. I think when your wife is going through this, searching for a job and feeling overwhelmed by it, what she's really at her core searching for is where do I pour my value into the world? What is my worth? Do I have worth? Can I trust, my own leadership? So your spear into the world of where, you could do this and this. What she's really looking for first is a mirror back that you understand her value and her worth. And it's really her in that confidence in herself that she can be then more of a spear head into her own life and find those opportunities. Does that seem true to you, that if you feel in your heart that's what she's looking for, or is she wanting a little bit more leadership from you as well?
Yeah, I think it's a balance of those two things. So, you can always read the context very, very well, Cynthia. I mean, she had told her mom a couple weeks ago, approaching 40 is really bothering me. I haven't accomplished anything in my life. I'm just this stay-at-home mom, and just, right? She just feels, pushed down by life, and that she hasn't done anything on her own. And I think that was a big catalyst for the separation, was I've got to prove to myself that I'm somebody and I can do something and I can accomplish something. And then since then, I think part of that has been an evaluation on her end that, sure, we have plenty of things to work on. I have plenty of things to work on, but it might not have been the relationship as much as this search for worth. And I think she's leaning back in for some level of leadership. And I'm trying to be very sensitive to the controlling attributes that I had before, and the little boy neediness and needing, affirmation, and looking for those things that I think exhausted her, on top of her inner struggle of trying to build her space and figure out her self-worth and her future. So I think you're dead on in a balance between those two items. And so I guess that's why I'm asking the question I am, is in this fragile time of reconnection, where the wrong thing could put us back in the zero talking zone. I'm trying really hard to slow down and think about how to frame my leadership, because it's new for me. Those weren't the natural tendencies to talk like we're learning to talk. And so I have to go really, I feel like I'm tiptoeing through the conversation so that I don't overextend and kind of fall back into those prior comfortable habits and scare her away. Like, oh, he doesn't understand. He's not listening. He just wants to solve the problem for me.
Sure. Well, I appreciate the feeling like you need to tiptoe. I'm wondering if it's, instead of having to tiptoe, it's a kind of feeling into yourself of what you see for her, like what you envision for her in the moment, because your presence with her moment to moment is actually the thing that's going to make her feel her most worth, as opposed to having the perfect plan. So if you're sitting with her and, present with her, and you have vision in your mind of options she might go to, it's kind of like you have this plate and there's like three different snacks on the plate. You're like, here are some options. And like you put the plate down and there's no attachment to whether she wants the chocolate or if she wants the Brussels sprouts, but it's in your masculine, incredible awareness and wisdom. You're saying, here are some options. And then she has the empowerment to reach across the table and go, man, that works for me, or that doesn't work for me. And the feminine learns about her worth, learns about what she wants most when she can kind of push up against something. So even if you offer something that she's like, oh God, no, that's not it, that's an enormous gift, an enormous value for her processing of this and learning of herself.
Oh, that's incredible. Because, when you say that, before you got to the punchline there at the end, it was like, oh, I said the wrong thing. But to be able to have that knowledge that was actually a valuable suggestion because she was able to push up against it and help her clarify. That's pretty awesome knowledge there. I appreciate that.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, thank you, Jason, so much.
So Jason, I'm going to come in. I want to put a little frame on this too. So you can't be expecting to get brownie points for putting this plate out for her with the three things on it, right? So you can't be like, oh, look, I was a good boy and put the three options out there. And if she says, that's not what I was asking you, I just wanted you to support me, asshole, and she walks away, right? So you can't be attached to whether she likes that or not. Now, I do want to say I love one thing that Cynthia said, which was, and here's how I'll frame it. You can't be afraid and have a positive, loving vision for her at the same time. And what Cynthia said is have a positive, loving vision for her, whether it's, you have to know what her dream is too. Does she want to do this on her own? Does she want to just come for you for support sometimes where it's emotional support? Does she actually want your advice sometimes? And so when you offer those things, whatever that dream may be, you can't be afraid and feel loving and supportive at the same time, right? So the fear is something that you've got to process, and that's your monkey mind in the moment of like, I don't want to fuck up, right? But you can't be in, I don't want to fuck up, and I'm lovingly supporting her energy at the same time. Do you see what I'm saying here?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's the scary part about this happening so fast from starting this work is I recognize those things in the moment, and then it's like, but now what? You know,
right. So I'm going to jump in and say, I do want to get to Shawn, who's got his hand up today too. So Jason, I want to say, like, I'm going to put a stake in the sand here, and I'm happy to talk more with you or tomorrow's show, you know, that kind of stuff. You know that I'm here for you, that you need to be doing daily work. You need to be doing morning routine to get your own emotional self under control. Because what the danger is here for you, a big piece of what I do for guys, you know, whether one-on-one or it's going to be in this group coaching that Cynthia and I are going to do, is warn you of big pitfalls, or, you know, the bridge is out up ahead, like slow down, watch out. Okay. If you're not in control and you have what you're insinuating is the fear that you're going to accidentally step on a mine because you're walking in the wrong direction and you're not in control of your own emotions. Like, I've been there. Okay. So if you're worried about your own self taking something wrong and lashing back at her, that's your own work that you need to be doing every day, every morning, to really get yourself grounded and calm so that your cup isn't almost overflowing when you see her, right? So your cup is like, you know, you're doing good and you can take an emotional storm and not be totally blown over or get upset, because that's what's going to blow over the edge and step on a landmine and blow your leg off, is if you handle it really badly. Okay. So that's something like, if you're not doing a morning routine, you got to get on a morning routine, the kingly plan. If you're not if you're not meditating for 3 minutes in the morning and then dumping stuff out of your mind, dumping all the negative emotions out of your mind and then getting rid of it, you got to be doing that stuff every day to prepare yourself. Right. So, like, I'll just take 30 seconds here. This is a promotional thing, guys, for 30 seconds. So Cynthia and I are launching a small group. We're going to launch in the next 30 days. You can go to a page that I made this weekend to check it out. It's economical because it's going to be a group. And my business is full. Like, my private one-on-one clients are full. I only take 15 calls a week, and that's full at this point. And so we're going to squeeze in where I can do one call, and Cynthia and I are going to do this together, one call a week in a group format that makes it more economical. So we're going to kick ass, and everything that I do and Cynthia does in one-on-one coaching, we're going to do it in a group format. Right? Some guys want one-on-one and that's it, and that's cool. Some guys are like, hey, how do I get in for a lower price point and kick ass and be in a group of other supportive men? And it's called Relaunch. It's called Relaunch Your Love Life. More hugs, kisses, sex, affection, learn how to control yourself, the 3 forms of confidence, everything you need to do to kick ass. So that's greatmenmovemountains.com/relaunch, right? All spelled together, /relaunch. So Jason, I encourage you to check that out. There's other men on here today that we're going to invite in as well. We're just talking to you guys first. These episodes take about a month for us to get these up onto YouTube. So this is only going to you guys right here and Choice Men in the forums right now. All right. So that's something to consider. So Jason, thank you so much. I appreciate it, man. We're going to press pause. Hey, Shawn, I know we only have a few minutes left. I appreciate you being patient. If we have to cliffhanger your question today, or if Cynthia and I can get back to you privately, we'd love to do that. So Shawn, come on, please. Yeah. How you doing, man? It's been a while.
I'm doing good, man.
Oh, rocking the beard, dude. I love it. Rocking the beard.
Yeah. No, I just kind of got a question. You know, I've been doing the morning routine, and I recently, this past week, we went on vacation, my wife and I, without the girls. It was actually our anniversary on Friday. I've since, you kind of know a little bit about my history. Since moved back into the home.
Yeah.
And so it's been going well. And I know, what Jason was talking about, just in general with some of the things and having the conversations and feeling like you're going to walk on a landmine, and I'm getting better at sitting with the uncomfortability and just listening and being there. my wife Katie, she's really pointed that out, that she's noticed a huge shift in my ability to sit in and listen to her without trying to come up with a solution or anything like that. She mentioned while we were on our vacation, that her view on marriage has changed. And, I asked her, and I used one of the, questions, well, tell me a little bit more about that. And she really couldn't expand on it. She really couldn't give me any kind of substance as to what that would look like. But what she did say is that she has to learn to love me differently. And that kind of threw me back, because her saying that kind of makes me feel like I have to reassess how I am going to approach my affection and my love towards her. Now, and I don't know if that's the right way of doing it, but if she feels the way she loved me in the relationship that didn't work, that no longer is a viable option for her, then I don't know if I have to reassess the way I'm approaching my affection, my love towards her, because she may not be receptive to the way I'm loving her.
Sure. So let me jump in, Shawn, real fast.
Yeah.
So my initial reaction is I'm excited. Okay. So we can either choose to be fearful, like Jason was saying. We can't be fearful and excited at the same time. Okay. We have to choose how we want to focus on it. So I'm thinking, first of all, you've moved back in, things are going good, vacation's going good. So I would decide I'm excited about the thing that she just said. I'm excited about her wanting to love me in a different way. That's how I would pose it. Okay. And then as a man, as the masculine in the relationship, no pun intended with the book, but as you being the masculine core in the relationship, you must have what you want in relationship and focus. You do not want to be reactive and, hi, mommy, do I need to change the way I'm thinking and feeling? That's not what you want. Now, of course, it's not like my way or the highway. That's not what you're saying. But this is how you want to love her, Shawn. This is the man that you want to be. This is how you want to show up. And you're excited for her to come to you with these new revelations that she's having. Okay. I see Cynthia smiling. I'd love for you to give 1 minute into Shawn. And then, Shawn, post more on the forum, okay? Or come on tomorrow. We can continue this. I'm sure Cynthia and I could give you a couple questions to ask yourself, or maybe Cynthia can give you one question to help her bloom with you a little bit more. Yeah, please. Okay. Go ahead, Cynthia.
Well, the energy of excitement is just, it just opens my heart. And I love what Jeff said about reframing exactly what you're excited about in a new kind of relationship with your wife, Shawn. And you just have the most incredible heart. And I'm so excited to hear and know what you are wanting, because that's going to be the magnetic force in this relationship. And even inviting that conversation of excitement into conversations with your wife about what she is excited and sharing with you and what you're excited about sharing with her, kind of relates to what I referenced with Jason, that it's, you are riverbanks to her, and she wants to be the water that presses up against what you're wanting and flows and finds more of what she's wanting based on your excitement and your desires as well. So I really, I'm thrilled to think about where you two are heading in that way.
Yeah, I love it. Thanks, Shawn. I muted you. So we got to wrap up our show for today. So Shawn, post on the forum. Come back on tomorrow, guys. Dave, thank you so much for being here. You guys are fantastic. We could go for another hour today, right? But we've got to get on to our other stuff. And we're going to see you tomorrow on the C-Note show. So Cynthia, if you'd honor our men, I'd appreciate it. And then we'll wrap it up for today. I had 3 other videos I didn't even get to today, guys. So we over-prepare and we try to over-deliver. And we love doing this show. So Cynthia, let's close it up for today, please.
Yeah, thank you so incredibly much. And thank you for those of you who come on and share and ask your questions. Dave, I'm so appreciative of your story. And Jason, I love hearing where you are at in your journey, and got some wonderful comments in the chat here. Let's see, Ian was talking about, he really resonated with the idea of diffuse awareness and the thermometer. This is such wonderful, incredible stuff, and I'm excited to share with you all on this journey. And I know next week Jeff and I are going to be on the road, but we get to do the C-Note show on the road, and that's my ideal. So I'm so excited for this week and next week.
Yeah, exactly. On the road. We're going to be doing some car camping, and we're going to drive out to Utah, go to Moab, that area out there, and we're going to bring this show every day. We're going to try to find Wi-Fi. We're going to find Wi-Fi every day and bring this show to you. It's going to be different. So it's going to be Jeff and Cynthia, the C-Note show on the road next week. And when we get out to Europe, when we get out to New Zealand, we're going to do the C-Note show from the road everywhere in the world. That's our goal. You guys are fantastic. So thank you. This has been the C-Note Show, brought to you by Great Men Move Mountains and greatmenmovemountains.com. To check out our new small group coaching program, this is the first that we've been announcing it, guys. We're going to start it in the next 30 days. It's only for choice men, and it's going to be everything that you get in our coaching in a small group format and a cohort. So first cohort with Cynthia and myself, you're going to get everything that we talk about. So go to greatmenmovemountains.com/relaunch. Or if you're not yet in our private Facebook group, greatmenmovemountains.com/Facebook, and punch in your information, guys. Right? We're here every day because this matters. You do your daily work here with us. Appreciate you guys so much. Thank you very much. Ciao.
Whose heart is sunshine, whose body burn hot. I'ma tell you about a woman who's cold as tundra with some frozen eyes. I can tell by the way she moves that she cares, and it's lovely.